You're this perp back with another video, and I just got done checking out episode 2 of Cabinet of Curiosities, and I gotta say I really enjoyed this episode more than the first. The first episode had a lot of potential, but I feel like for me the pacing of this episode and just the creativity, not taking anything away from the first one, I like the design of the monster in the first one, but where they go with this one is interesting. So this is pretty much a story about grave robbers, which is interesting. And it's interesting how it opens up, how you have these two characters obviously stealing something from a grave, like, and that's just the weirdest thing to do, honestly, but that was the hustle, I guess, back then. I don't know exactly the time period. Somebody can let me know in the comments what type of time period it was. I don't know if it was like 1800s or something like that, or like somewhere close to like early 1900s. I don't know, but it's interesting when you see these two characters and all of a sudden you see this guy pull a gun on those two, and that's our main character named Mason. It's it's interesting about his character because he reminds me of a Lannister, like where he talks about I always pay off my debt. But I like his introduction though, because here I'm thinking he's like going to be this good character, but no, he's just as bad. Like, he's willing to just go to the craziest lengths just to get whatever he needs off these dead bodies. It's crazy, man. I don't know what kind of profession that is, but I wouldn't do it. So what ends up happening is you have our main character Mason showing up to this coroner and asking if he can, you know what I'm saying, see if there's anything of value off these dead bodies. And he pretty much guilt trips her, because he's like, you remember when I used to line your pockets and stuff like that? And at that point he had no choice in the matter. So as he's like searching through different bodies and stuff, like it was disgusting, man. Like, damn, man, has some dignity. But then he sees this curtain, and he pulls back this curtain, and this guy that has just died, you know what I'm saying, he's very rich, obviously, just because he opens up his mouth, right, and you see all gold teeth. He's like, oh my god, I hit the jackpot, pretty much. But before he can even just take out any teeth or whatnot, somebody walks into the room. It ends up being a relative of the body. But as they're hiding, they overhear a conversation that they have while talking to their relative. And they talk about this sword that's worth a lot of money. And this makes fucking Mason go crazy, because he's like, yo, this is just getting better and better. And he's not just thinking clearly. He's just like, I want that sword. As soon as that thing hits the ground and it's nighttime, I'm going in. And it's interesting when he sees the viewing. He's there at the viewing. He's sitting there with the meanest look on his face, and he's just smiling. And like his one relative, I think it's his daughter, that kind of sees him, and she can already get a weird vibe off him. You could definitely see it. Like, it's just, greed is just all over his face. But it's interesting where this story goes with him, because as soon as he gets into that grave, it just starts to get real crazy. And I thought that while watching this, that it wasn't really happening, because there was a certain part in this episode where it felt like it was more psychological, like nothing was really happening. He was like really imagining this because he was already kind of paranoid and seeing shit in the beginning of the episode. So that's what I was thinking, but I was kind of wrong. And where he ends up going, because he's a very much a historian as well too, which is interesting about his character. Like he knows a lot about just like the graveyards, and he talks about like there's these tunnels that are just filled with rats, and it's just crazy, bro. And I just really like how well structured this episode is, and how it goes from one thing to another, and it just keeps your attention, and you're just like, oh my god, there's still like 20 minutes left. And where he ends up in these tunnels, like I was saying, and he ends up coming across more than just rats down there. I'll just say that. There's some things that gave me Walking Dead vibes as well, and that was really dope, and I really appreciated that. And just the claustrophobic kind of feeling you get watching these types of like horror movies or even TV shows, where he's just crawling through different spaces. You don't know where you're going, and you could just get lost and you just be stuck in there. But he just kept going and just ended up finding his way through. So some of the highlights for me of this episode is the big ass rat, and also this zombie that we get towards like the end of the episode. And this zombie is very, very creepy, bro. And it talks. It reminds me of the torso walker from The Walking Dead. But it talks, and it says, mine, mine, mine. Just the way it's... I did a horrible impression of that, but once you watch the episode, or you've listened to the episode, it's gonna stick with you. It's very haunting. I'm probably not gonna be able to sleep after just like kind of hearing that. But I thought that was really dope, and it was a really good episode that built a lot of tension, and it had really good payoff, in my opinion. Let me know how you guys feel about this episode. What was some of your favorite parts of the episode? Let me know in the comments below. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.